Hi friends, it's Vervain, and I have been working through this junk journal since the beginning of this year. This is my Overflow journal that I made, and I put 3 signatures in, and I'm almost done with the second signature, and it's honestly feeling kind of full, so I'm kind of looking for ways to just kind of quickly fill up the rest of it so that I can move on to the next one without adding too much thickness still. And so I thought, it being July, that this might be a good time to dip into the junk journal July prompts. And I'm not looking at them now, so I forget which day it was, but one of the days the prompt is lettering. And so I thought this would be great for this page. I will look up a quote that I'd like to put on here. And this page is one of my coffee dyed, coffee dyed with a vinyl lace placemat and coffee dyed papers. And I love the way that the paper looks. So I had been I kept, as I was working on this, in this journal, doing other things. I kept kind of skipping over this page because I didn't want to cover it too much. I really wanted the beautiful design of the lace dye to show through whatever my finished plan for it was. And anytime I had something I wanted to add, it was a ton of photos. And I was like, I want to cover up this beautiful pattern with a ton of photos. So I keep a Pinterest board of quotes called Words of Wisdom. And then I keep a little subsection of that Pinterest board called Journal that's quotes that are probably short enough to be hand lettered into a journal. Obviously, a longer quote could be written in a journal, or I could type it up on my typewriter and put it in there. But I kind of look for slightly shorter ones. And this one is actually, there's a beautiful little piece of art that has this quote on it that's pinned to probably 20 of my Pinterest boards. We don't even need to talk about how many Pinterest boards I have. And I've put it on several of my digital vision boards over the years. I just love it so much. It's this beautiful portrait of this lady. Maybe I'll pop it in this video here really quick. I have no idea who to credit it to, so sorry. I just found it on Pinterest. But it has this quote on it, and I love this quote. And so when I was going through my Pinterest board looking for quotes for this page, I thought this one was perfect. So I decided to hand letter that. And that's obviously what I am finishing up here. I'm just bolding or adding a shadow to some of the words that I did a little bit more standout-y. The words that I did with a little more emphasis, which I don't know if there was any really good reasoning for what I did. It's just what I did. And this is all with my Zebra Sarasa clip 0.5 in brown. I think it's probably tea brown because I see the Japanese Chinese character for tea on here. So that's probably what it's called, but it's brown. And yeah, I kind of had pictured just hand lettering the quote and having that take up the whole page. And as I got partway through the quote, I kind of started to realize that the way that I was doing it was definitely not going to take up the whole page. And I was going to have to add something else to make it complete. And boy, I'm so glad I did, because I love the way that this page turned out in the end. So I just pulled out my book. What's it called? Women, a Pictorial Archive from 19th Century Sources. This is a Dover publication, and it's great. All of these images are royalty-free. I love them. I will definitely need to buy more copies of this book because, some of the images that I love the paper quality. So I don't really like photocopying. I would much rather just have another copy of the book. And it's double-sided, so sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and I don't like that. So maybe someday I'll get a photocopier. Anyhow, right now I'm going through, and I'm looking specifically for images of women with bare feet, and preferably with some motion in their hair, or at least that feeling of wild freedom. And I ended up picking out a couple. Unfortunately, the other thing that I'm looking for that kind of it's a necessary qualifier, is it has to be small enough to fit on this page underneath my quote, without blocking any of the quote, because I didn't want to block any of the quote. So I did cut out some women, even if I kind of had a vibe like that one that I probably wasn't going to use it for this page. I still cut her out because I checked what was on the back, and I definitely liked this woman better than what was behind her. So I know I'll use her for something, even if I don't use her right here. And I'm just kind of trimming these down, not my final fussy cut, but just to see how it fits so that I can make my decision. This one, again, I knew was not going to fit on there, but I really loved her. I wish she'd fit the big one sitting down. Well, I don't know that I would say I wish that she had fit, because, like I said, I love how this one turned out. And now you see the real fussy cutting. But yeah, I like how this one turned out. But boy, if I had planned from the beginning to do a spread with a figure in it, I might have picked that other big figure and picked a different page for this quote. But that's not the point. The point was to use this page up with a quote, and this is the quote that I picked. It felt kind of appropriate because I've got that Audubon bird on the other side, and that little wild rose thing is a book spine that I literally thrifted this whole book from the Goodwill specifically so that I could use the cover and the spine in as a journal, because it's called The Wild Rose and it has gold embossing, and it was kind of pretty. And in my process of taking apart the book, I totally destroyed the cover. So the whole thing that I wanted it for, totally destroyed. But I figured I still really liked that spine piece, so I kind of tore it off the cardboard and pasted it down there. And now we finally got this one fussy cut out, and I finally found my little knife, and I've just taken it off screen to cut the finer holes out. But yeah, so I saved that little wild rose spine. I still have the rest of the book. I'll probably use the book covers for something, but I'll have to I can use the board as a book cover, but I'll have to cover them because I kind of ripped them a little bit, and the spine was just totally destroyed. And the pages, obviously, I'll be able to find some uses for some of the pages. And I did cut a couple roses out of the jacket. I cut the letters out of the jacket. So it's not all is lost, but I can't use it for what I wanted to use it for. And of course, here I am. I kind of wanted to have the earth. So the quote, if you can't read it on the screen, is, "Forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair." And I just love that. And I wish I knew. I meant to look it up before I filmed this voiceover. I don't know if it's Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran, or it could be Gibran for all I know. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I should look that up. But I love this quote. So that's what I'm doing. And I wanted to have the earth that her feet are touching. So I did some little brown paper bag for that. Even though it covers up some of the beautiful lace pattern, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can still see a lot of the lace. I'll get over it. But then once I put the paper down, I was like, this is actually too flat and boring and doesn't have enough texture. So I got out my favorite flower stencil that I probably use I definitely use that more than any other stencil. And brushed in some, I think, coffee colored Ranger Archival ink. And then I decided that I didn't actually like the gal being just black and white. So I thought that I had a bunch of distress inks, but it turns out I have a bunch of distress oxide inks, and I've just never played with them like oxide inks. So they're a little more opaque, and they would do stuff with water if I played with them that way. Anyhow, so I'm using some of my distress oxide inks. I think the yellow is called Wild Honey, the green is called something, and the blue is something peacock something. I don't know. And then I used the burlap for her skin as well. And hair, maybe? I don't remember. Watch the video. You can probably tell. So yeah, I ended up kind of coloring her in with this little brush and these inks. And I end up really liking how that's on there. Oh, also you can't see it now because it's covered in paper scraps, but I meant to tell you, because I keep the quote on my Pinterest board, and it's kind of a long quote, and my Pinterest board is on my phone, and I can't find my iPad right now, which is very sad. And I needed to be able to reference my quote. I had just written it down kind of quick and dirty on this underpaper. So if you can see like where the glue and the knife is and all those paper scraps, written underneath that is some very scrappy handwriting that has the quote so that I could reference it while I was lettering it in the journal. And then, I decided to go back and make these big letters pop a little more by filling in the open spaces with color. So this is another Zebra Sarasa pen in, all the color names are in Japanese. So you're just gonna have to look at it and decide what color you think it is. What does it say? It says Raito green. Okay, yeah. Bright green, I guess. But it doesn't say buraito, it says raito. So I think that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that says. Bright green. Okay. So I filled that in, and then I pulled my brown pen back out to give a little more definition to this figure and just go over some of the fine detail lines that were like lost a little because those oxide inks are so opaque, but also just to give a little more definition between her and the background. And then I decided that I wanted something, so I had like the earth represented, the bare feet on the earth represented, and her hair is definitely blowing, and her little like scarf shawl thing is definitely blowing, but I just wanted something that felt a little more like the wind kind of taking up space here. So I got that same stencil back out and pulled back out that same blue ink. What's it called? Wild Peacock? Is that what it's called? I don't know, something like that. And yeah, I did a couple of those. You'll see me struggling. I really wanted to get it like right in the inner edge, like where the pages are bound. And I just could not, like, because there's a border on the stencil, I couldn't get right up there. And because my journal is so chonky. So that is it, guys. Yeah, so that's my page for the lettering prompt for Junk Journal July. And I have now filled up a page that I didn't really know what to do with. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. I now have one of my favorite quotes here. I love the imagery. I love how it all came together. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you again soon in the next video. Love ya. Bye.